Peace, family. Hey, my ladies. Hey, my queens. Hey, my goddesses. Peace to y'all. Welcome back to another one. I told y'all I was going to go live today, and this is me um, standing true on my words. Okay, this is that. Today, we are talking about 7 powerful activations of the Dark Goddess. These are light bulbs, essentially. This is information, internal information, spiritual information, and affirmations that literally will turn on a light inside of you to support your healing, to support the reacclimation of your power, and to also help you to be fierce, right? We love the goddess segment for a reason, right? We love seeing strong, powerful, fierce, energetic women for a reason. It's because they represent an aspect of us that has always been there, an aspect of us that is absolutely necessary. But we sometimes like shield or like push her down or reject her or deny her or hide her, um, because we don't want to ruffle any feathers. Okay. And so, as we have been talking about the energy of the dark goddess, what I realize now through my own work is that this fierce energy, this queen bitch energy, honey, is necessary. Not only necessary just for magnetizing to ourselves the things that we desire in our lives, this energy is necessary for our survival. It is necessary for us as women to be destructive so that we can also be creative. It is necessary for us as women to sometimes be selfish and self absorbed so that we can do the deep healing work that is required of us, so that we can become who we are meant to be, and so that we can give to our families, to our communities, to the people that we serve, so that we can give them the best of ourselves. If we don't take moments to tune into this energy, we are never tapping into the level of power that we are meant to tap into. Okay. You know, it makes me think about the energy of the yin and the yang. And the yin yang symbol in that essence has totally been like a case study for working with dark goddess energy. When we see the yin yang symbol, we are seeing darkness and light in this beautiful balancing act between the two. We are seeing masculine and feminine. And it's just like, there are going to be people, ladies, as you tap into this energy, there are going to be people that are uncomfortable with you being this dark feminine goddess. There are going to be coworkers, employers, husbands, children, family members that don't like you in this space. But I want to tell you that once you go through the healing, once you go through the transformation, once you get through the alchemical process of embracing that part of yourself, the people who are meant to be in your life, they will love, adore, cherish, encourage, and uplift the multi-dimensional version of you. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with today. We're going to talk about 7 activations, and I want you all to really understand how to use this energy. So before I tell you what those activations are, I'm going to explain to you how to use it. But first, I want to say, hey, peace, rising vibes. Hey, cosmic energy. Hey, divine Zoe. Hey, dream. Hey, um, B soul or Bay soul. Hey, y'all. Make sure y'all take a moment to now like the video, share the video if you will. Um, yeah, I think that would be good. Listen, I'm gonna burn this sage right now and see what happens, y'all. I did the energy of the week reading for Patreon. If y'all are on Patreon, you probably just now recently saw the energy of the week. If you haven't, it is posted. I did the energy of the reading and I was burning some sage, right? When I tell y'all this sage was popping, when I say popping, I don't mean in a good way. I mean like the fire on the top of the sage was like pop, 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 and like flying everywhere. Did some of y'all in the Patreon see that video already? I posted it at like 9:30, maybe almost like 10 o'clock. And the sage was popping. And I was very much so offended. I was very much so offended by how this sage was treating me. I was like, what the hell? I was like, okay, maybe me and Sage are no longer like in alignment, and that's okay. Maybe I just got to be a Palo Santo girly, okay? Because the way that Sage was behaving was very suspicious, right? Very suspicious, okay? So that was interesting. Patreon family, when y'all go and watch the energy of the week, leave a comment on that video telling me why you think that Sage was acting like that. This one that I just lit was behaving pretty good. Okay, so when y'all go check that out, definitely look at it, and definitely like Ultra Instinct just said, like the video, like the video. Peace, Barbara. Peace, Monique. Hey, y'all. Okay, let's get into these 7 activations. Right, these are the activations of the Dark Goddess. But what I also want y'all to know and understand is that these ideas, these ideals, these energies, these are things that, regardless if you resonate with the term dark goddess, because I do understand that a lot of us are coming from a certain religious background, a religious belief system. And so when you say things or hear things like dark, you automatically think negative. This is a programming, right? This is a very deep rooted programming, right? To think dark and to automatically assume negative. And so I want to go ahead and debunk that right now. And if you're still getting caught up in that mindset or that mental frame, I want to challenge you to do some inner work in that, right? Because if the word dark goddess seems unappeasing or like seems scary or seems, like it's something you want to stay away from because you don't want to be dealing with anything that is dark, again I say, look at the effects of programming, right? Because the word dark does not have to be synonymous with something bad as it has been programmed in us to believe. This is why so many women have struggled with being dark skinned. All of these things are aligned. All of these things have some sort of connection, right? Dark being negative, dark being scary. Are you afraid of the dark, right? And light, right? Or white, that being good, that being positive, right? We got to get out of that. And I feel like this energy of the dark goddess is an ask to really look at these things from a different perspective, right? I also like to think of it as in the way of, if the mass media or if the masses of people, if the matrix is telling you run away from something, if the masses of people are telling you that something is bad, something is scary, don't do it, you would be doing yourself a disservice not to explore that thing. You would be doing yourself a disservice not to inquire for yourself about why people are saying this thing is a bad thing. Okay? So I want to put that out there. What I also want to say is that in this dark goddess activation, here's how it works, right? Here's how it works. An activation is basically a setup to display something, right? It is, think about this. You ever been like to like a football game or some sort of event, a festival or something? When people put together a nice table and they're showing you all the things that they have to sell and they want you to come and engage with them, that is called an activation. It's, I want you to engage with this thing to see what it turns on inside of you. I want you to engage with this. I want you to have an experience with with this idea or with this information or with this stand or whatever it may be, right? I want you to come and see what happens as you are trying your hand at this thing. An activation is when something turns on a light inside of you. An activation is when there's a spark of creativity, a spark of newness. An activation is also when something that has been laying dormant, okay? It's when something has been laying dormant is turned on. It has been, it has now been made active. So when I'm about to share these activations with you, what I'm employing and asking you to do with it is one, as you hear the words that I speak, as you hear the stories that I share, I want you to get introspective. I want you to reflect on how these words dance with you, right? What comes up inside of you. And I have 7 of these activations that I'm going to share with you. And one of them may be the thing that turns you on. One of them may be the thing that is arousing to you. 2 of them may be arousing. 3 of them or all of them may be arousing, right? But the point of being of an activation is for you to determine which one do you feel called to. Okay, which ones do you feel called to? And each of these activations that I'm going to share with you, each of these words, each of these experiences that I'm going to share with you are directly linked to energies of the dark goddesses. This is some Kali energy. This is some Medusa energy. This is some Sekhmet energy. This is just goddess energy. This is self-care energy. This is shadow work energy. Okay. A lot of times we talk about shadow work and, having to dive into your traumas and et cetera, et cetera. Dark goddess energy is all about embracing your shadow. It's all about utilizing your trauma for your purpose. It's about taking your trauma and making it your triumph. Okay. Let me know if y'all can see my screen. You should be seeing right now. It says the dark goddess activation. Put a heart. Put a heart in the comments if you can see it. Put a heart in the comments if you can see it, and then we're gonna jump right in. Again, as you are listening to what I share with you as far as these activations go, as you are listening, you are paying attention for the resonance. You are paying attention and looking internally for movement, for memories. Like what comes up inside of you? Do you feel something? Does your heart feel something? Is there a certain thought that comes to mind, right? Is there a certain part in your body that feels activated or energized or alive, right? Does your heart start pumping fast? Does your womb start to feel a little bit fluttery? Do you start to feel hot? Whatever it is. At the end of the day, I want you to pay attention to those sensations. But not only that, when you read the activation and you see the activation, I also want you to write it down. Okay? So take a moment now, get you a pen or paper, pen and paper, right? Get you some pen and paper or some sticky notes. Like I got some little sticky notes here. But go and get that. Go and get that if you have it. If you can, get you a sticky note or some paper or something, because I want you to write down what activation makes you feel the most alive. What words I share with you makes you feel the most intrigued, like you want to know more about that, or like there's something there that you need to understand deeper. Okay? Hopefully you got that pretty quickly. All right, activation number 1. This is activation number one. This is ideal number one. This is essence number one. That the dark goddess energy is inviting you into. And it is, I embrace the fullness of my emotions, knowing that my anger, passion, joy are sacred tools for creation and liberation. Take a moment. If that resonates with you, if that is something that you feel like you are learning, that you are needing, that your spirit team is um, asking you to investigate more of, take a moment and write this down. Okay? Here's the reality. The reality is that our emotions are always teaching us something. They're always giving us something. And many times when we are in our light goddess energy, we want to suppress those emotions, or we feel the need to heal those emotions. We feel like I shouldn't be feeling this way, and I'm feeling this way, and I don't want to feel this way. Let me try to do something to get out of this feeling. Is that something that y'all have experienced recently? I know you have, because we all do, right? Through the work with the dark goddess, you start to really understand that emotions like anger is a secondary emotion. A lot of times we use anger as a mask, so to speak, right? Because anger is easier than sadness. Anger is easier than disappointment, right? But in the same breath, anger is good. You want to know why? Because anger gets shit done. When you are angry with what is happening in your relationship, when you are angry with what is showing up in your financial life, when you are angry about how your body looks, when you are angry, you are more willing to do something about it. This is the power of dark goddess energy. It's about not saying, oh, I'm angry. Let me try to get out of this emotion. No, the dark goddess is like, you're angry. So what you going to do? The dark goddess is like, something in your life is not right. What changes are you willing to make to shift that energy? The dark goddess energy understands the full spectrum of life, right? The full spectrum of emotion and experience. And she doesn't resist one for the other. Because we understand that if we don't experience sadness, we don't know what happiness actually is. If we don't experience anger, we don't know what joy actually is. If we don't have a moment in our lives where we feel lost, where we feel estranged, where we feel like we are on an island by ourselves, if we don't experience that, we don't come to know what purpose is. We don't come to know what service is. We don't come to know what community is. See, the dark goddess activation is accepting when you are in that space, taking the lessons from those experiences and using it as a beautiful springboard or a rocket into your growth. Okay. Activation number one. Activation number one is I embrace the fullness of my emotions, joy, anger, passion, whatever it is I am feeling in the moment. I accept and I understand that it is a catalyst for my creation and my liberation. Okay. A very real experience of this. This just happened on my birthday in October, where My birthday had come, and I was feeling disappointed. I was feeling like, when your birthday comes around, it's always a time to reflect, right, on the year you've had and the year you desire to have moving forward. And so with this birthday, I was reflecting on everything that happened in the year leading up to that day, and I felt disappointed. And this was the first time that I cried. Well, the first time in a long time. I can't remember the last time. Probably 2014. My birthday in 2014 was the last time that I cried in a way of feeling sad. And so this past October 2024 birthday, I cried. Wow. So that was 10 years, right? A 10-year cycle of feeling that. And I was talking to Dream about it, and I was just like, I just feel like disappointed in myself that I didn't do some of the things that I told myself that I was going to do, right? There were some plans that I had and goals that I had, and things that really were placed on my heart and on my spirit for me to do that I didn't accomplish. And on my birthday was a big moment of realizing that I didn't accomplish those things. And so I felt some type of way about it. And my hubby here, right? He's like, "Nah, babe, you shouldn't feel that way. Don't feel that way. You've done great things. I mean, you had a baby this year, and you've been raising two kids at home this year, and da 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 da." And as he's telling me these things, I know that he's coming from a place of love. I know that he's trying to um pour into me, right? But I just had to say, like, babe, like, stop. Like, this is how I feel. I'm not going to deny the feeling. The feeling is there, the feeling is present. The best thing I can do for myself right now is inquire about, what do I need to do differently to not feel this way again? What changes do I need to make? Right? What new choices, what new decisions do I need to hold myself accountable to? And so, day after my birthday, the next day, I'm like, I'm on it. I'm in it. I'm like, okay. And so that's the powerful thing about allowing ourselves to feel how we feel and embracing how we feel, is that we get clarity. We get clarity on the actions, the decisions, the choices that we need to make moving forward in order for us to really be who we desire to be. But if we are always repressing, denying, shutting down, or just or saying I'm not supposed to feel this way, or I shouldn't feel this way, if that is the way that we um move forward in those moments, we deny ourselves the clarity, the conviction, and the change that is birthed through feelings and through emotions. Okay. Cosmic Energy says, I don't think I make good decisions when I'm angry. That's just me. And you shouldn't be making decisions while you are angry. You shouldn't make decisions while you are angry. But in the same breath, here's also a very big thing too. You shouldn't make decisions while you are so happy and giddy either. It's best for us to make decisions when we are in a space of balance and even keel. Because sometimes when we are so joyful, so happy, like something great is happening in our lives, that emotion will cloud our judgment and we won't see clearly the full spectrum of things. This has happened to me multiple times where I'm feeling good about one thing, and I'm letting that feeling about one thing dictate how I show up in other spaces. And then in that moment, that's where I'm glad I have a divine masculine counterpart, because he's like, babe, you know, you're feeling greater about that situation and circumstance because you're feeling good right now holistically. So let's just take a moment and reflect. Let's just take a moment and be introspective before we make that decision based off a high that you have for something else happening in your life. So we want to make decisions, especially major decisions, life-changing decisions. We want to make those decisions when we are level-headed. We want to make those decisions when we are present, okay? So Dream says it's not really decisions more than breakthroughs. Very true. Very true. Breakthroughs is what we're looking for. We're looking for those aha moments. We're looking for those times of clarity. That's what I'm saying. So when we allow ourselves to feel and embrace the fullness of our emotions, once the emotions settle down, we have this vision that is clear. I think this is why this activation is so important. When we reject or resent how we feel, we don't get that clarity. We don't get those breakthroughs, right? When I sat in my own disappointment, when I sat with the frustration that I did not bring to life some of the visions that I had, when I sat with that and didn't run or resist or reject that, that's when my spirit was actually able to give me what I really needed to know and understand in order to move forward. And so I love what you said, babe, because I didn't have to make a decision in that moment. But there was just this resonance, there was this clearing, all of these like illusions that I had going on, right? Dissipated. And I was able to really see myself, right? So that's activation number one. The dark goddess will come alive and understand this energy is already within all of us, male and female. All of us have this feminine aspect of us that is both light and both dark. It's already there. You don't have to, you don't have to fake it till you make it. It's you. For the simple fact that we all have a quote unquote shadow side. For the simple fact that we all have the angel and the demon on our shoulders, right? God and the devil. Like this energy cannot be avoided, even though a lot of times in our religious upbringing, we are taught that things are just black and white. It's just good and evil, period. That's just it. But I've seen so many people, right? I've seen so many preachers, prophets, so many people who preach the gospel. I've seen they're ugly, right? I've seen sides of them that, based off of what we are taught, it is to be good, it is to be kind. I've seen them not be that in the name of God, in the name of their religion. Do we understand? So this is just an example to help you all understand that you cannot avoid the light and the dark. You can't just be on this path of love and light only. There's aspects of yourself, whether we realize it or not, that people are offended by. Okay? And so this is my call to you to embrace the offensiveness of your power, to embrace the offensiveness of who and what you are meant to be. There are things that come out of my mouth that are offensive, unattractive, don't like it, ugly. But it is what is needed. It is what is necessary. Not just for my transformation, but for those specific people who are ready to rise up, who are ready to be, who are ready to live in the fullness of who they were called to be. Right? There are times when I have consultations and readings and coaching and all of these things, and I got to tell my clients some things that are like, ugh, ugh, you know, but it's necessary. All right, let's go to activation number 2. If activation number 1 resonated with you, if activation number 1 is something that you are like, yeah, I need to sit with that, I'm not embracing my emotions fully, drop a 1 in the comments. I want to know from you if that is something that this energy, is needing to birth from you. All right, activation number 2. I feel deeply rooted in my sensuality, magnetizing love, abundance, and respect effortlessly. So good. Let me put it on the big screen. Let y'all see it deeper. I feel deeply rooted in my sensuality, magnetizing love, abundance, and respect effortlessly. Ooh, ooh. That's how that one makes me feel. It's like, ooh, ooh. Like when we embrace our sensuality, okay? When we embrace our sensuality, see, dark goddess energy is also very sensual and also very sexual, right? It is that. That's not the only thing that it is, but it is that, right? And when we're talking about sensuality, we're talking about pleasure, okay? We're talking about your sexuality. We're talking about your enjoyment and your expression for life. See, many times in our lives, we're taught to be the martyr. Many times in our lives, we're taught we have to be strong, right? You can't necessarily explore your pleasure, right? You can't explore what turns you on, right? And I'm not just talking about sexually, I'm talking about holistically. Yes, sexuality is a part of that, right? Sexuality is a part of pleasure, but we're just talking about you as a woman being totally fine with saying, I like this. This brings me joy. This makes me feel good. Right? And so the thing about embracing your sensuality is that it makes you more attractive and magnetic to more things that you desire, to more things that you like. But a lot of women in their light energy, right? In the love and light, we're taught to abandon that out of duty, right? It's duty over pleasure, it's responsibility over excitement. And so the dark goddess energy, this divine essence inside of you is like, girl, there's things that you love, things that you enjoy, things that bring you pleasure, but you will not allow yourself to explore it and experience it. You will not put yourself in situations and in circumstances that will grant you the opportunity to do more of it. Right? And so I encourage you, ladies, to inquire. I've had ladies that I've worked with where I've been like, sis, what do you like to do? What brings you joy? What brings you excitement? What is your guilty pleasure? And they're like, I don't know. Or they're like, well, I really like to travel, but I don't get to do it much because this. Or I really like this, but I don't let myself do it because this or because that or because the kids or my husband or whatever. Not realizing and recognizing that That's an abandonment, a neglect of yourself. When you have a pleasure, when you have an excitement, when you have a joy for something, but you don't allow yourself to tap in with that energy. And not only that, this rejection of pleasure and sensuality, it it makes you very wound up, very tight, very restricted, right? It actually blocks your flow as a woman. Okay? If that is something that you are needing, ladies, let me know in the comments. Put a 2. Put a 2 in the comments. If you know you need to become more deeply rooted in your sensuality and your pleasure and your excitement, and allow that to be what magnetizes you towards what you desire. Let me tell you some realness, right? Some realness. This used to be me. This used to be me. I used to um just, well, it was trauma based. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, because I said I was going to tell y'all some real stories, real life experiences of these energies. So when I was in college, I felt like my sexuality and like my sensuality was exploited, right? Um, Not that I was a hoe or anything. Matter of fact, I saw this video that was so good. I'm gonna try to find it and share it with y'all. But I was exploited in the sense of I was looking for love, right? Looking for a connection, looking for a relationship, looking to be nurtured, right? Because I grew up, and if y'all see me looking down at my phone, it's because I'm trying to find this really good video that I thought was so good. And I wanted to share it, but I didn't. I think I just saved it. I hope I can find it. But I had a father wound, right? And that father wound left this void in me, right? Seeking and searching to find the remedy, seeking and searching to find the resolution to that through relationships, right? Serial relationships, situationships, by any means necessary. I wanted to like conquer that. And so I exploited that sexuality. And then when I came into some more knowledge of self, some more self-awareness, when I realized that this is why I had these serial unproductive relationships, I closed down. When I realized that, oh, I had been giving of myself and being in these relationships that weren't serving me because I was feeling inadequate, because I didn't have my father there to like really reinforce this idea of love. When I realized that, I was like, oh, well, I can be abstinent, or I could be celibate, or I could be those things. Have y'all ever done that? Have y'all ever been there where you recognize, oh, I did save it. I did save it. Wait, yay. I saved it. Let me see. How can I quickly? Because this is so good. I love this man's authenticity. I love this man's authenticity in this video. And I think so many people need to see this. I'm going to share it with y'all. Let me do what I need to do to be able to share it with y'all. 20s that you regret. So let me put that right there. So many of us have that experience where we shut down our sexual pleasure, our sexual desires, for the simple fact that we had already did so much that wasn't in alignment with the true nature of who we really are. Okay? And so that type of energy is the energy that I had to heal, unlearn, to relearn, in a sense. And especially a lot of women, and I regret using them, and regret using. I'm gonna get y'all this video so I can show it to y'all. Wow, so you would have not like smashed the women? I wouldn't have smashed them like I did. No. What would you would have did? What would I would have? This is so good. Like y'all literally have to see this video. And been happy today. That's probably a regret that this man is talking about, a regret that he has in life. And it's so good. I got to show it to y'all because it's so real. And I wish I could show y'all the whole Would it be okay if I showed it on my phone like that? Let me see. I'm gonna try to share this with y'all on my phone. Y'all gonna tell me if y'all can hear it. Let's get into this. If y'all cannot hear it this way, then I will show it to y'all a different way. Right? See. Well, I want to show it. Let me just do it this way. So some of y'all are saying yes. Some of y'all are raising your hand and saying you understand. Cosmic Energy said, I had my dad in my life and was a daddy's girl and still have father wounds healing from. Absolutely. That's absolutely understandable, right? And me too, right? Like I had my dad in my life. My dad was there, but not in the way that I needed him to be. You understand what I mean? Like he's there, but he wasn't a very present. I mean, he was a weekend dad, right? 2 weekends out of the month, which was good. It was I had great experiences with my dad. I still have great experiences with my dad, but there were things that I needed to hear from him, right? There were things that I needed him to say to me, right? I needed him to tell me that I was beautiful. I needed him to treat me a certain way so that I wasn't so easily gaslit, right? I wasn't so easily impressed. I needed him to show me through his actions and tell me with his words that there's a certain standard or a certain level, there's a certain way that I should be treated, you know? And so when you don't get that, basic bare minimum shit feels good. And so when I realized I had that wound and it made me vulnerable in that way, when I started to realize who I was like, "Oh, I kind of suppressed my sensuality and my sexuality." And you know, even in the beginning stages of my relationship with Dream, I got this person here who not only shows me how much they love me by how they care for me, by how they are patient with me. Am I crazy? Right? Um, provide all the things, right? Through words, actions, whatever, all the things. I still had a wall that did not allow me to really open up, you know, intimately. And so I won't tell y'all the story about what I did to actually overcome that. I'll save that for women who join my upcoming class, which let me also put that out there, ladies. You know, the return of the Dark Goddess that is happening this Saturday. That is happening this Saturday at 10:30. I pushed it back to 10:30 Central Standard Time, 11:30 Eastern Time, so that we can still do the Patreon book club. We can still have our time there. And then afterwards, y'all can come and join me on the class. So if you haven't signed up to the class, I just dropped the link right now in the comments. I'll tell y'all more of the story about how I dealt with that, but had a whole intimacy wall up with my husband. And we had a kid at the time, and I still was like, like I want to go there. It's levels to the safety and security, because sometimes you can be intimate and you can have sex and it's just physical, right? But as women, our in order for us to become multi-orgasmic women, which I will also be teaching on this, not in the class on Saturday, but in Womb Alchemy 2.0. In Womb Alchemy 2.0, I'm going to be teaching about how to become a multi-orgasmic woman. The only way to do that is to have a deep level of emotional safety and security with your partner. So you may even be married to a man right now, or a woman, it doesn't matter, right? You may even be married, you may be in a long-term relationship with somebody, and there's still a block within your sexual intimacy for the simple fact that you've closed down the fullness of your sexuality, the fullness of your sensuality, because there's still wounds that need to be resolved. There's still an issue of safety. And I was in still, of course, Dream and I are still together, going strong, year 10, right? But at the beginning of our relationship, there was still that wall there and that repression of that energy. And so this dark goddess energy comes up to say, hey, embrace the fullness of who you are. Embrace your pleasure. Ask for what you want in intimacy, right? So that's that. Let me show y'all this video. I think I did whatever I needed to do to get it uploaded. This was so good. Let me
20s
see.
that you regret.
Listen.
20s that you regret.
He said, what's something in your 20s that you regret?
That would change your life today.
I regret being a hoe.
I
was in my
regret being
20s,
a
I was a hoe.
What do you mean by that?
I was a hoe. I was doing a lot of women that I shouldn't have been doing, and I had a family that I could deal with. So I was just out there doing, anybody. Not like that, but I was just picking and choosing what I wanted and who I wanted. Because I had a little reputation here in Springfield, and that got me a lot of things, and especially a lot of women. And I regret using them and, regret using who I was.
Wow. So you would have not smashed the women?
I wouldn't have smashed them like I did, no.
What would you would have did?
What would I have done? Stay with my one son's mother and been married and been happy today.
Wow.
That's probably a regret.
Wow. Did y'all like what? This man, this grown ass man, he looked like he's probably in his 50s, maybe even his 60s. He comes out and he says, I regret being a hoe. He says, I would have probably not been out here in the world picking and choosing all of these women, using and abusing them, right? I regret that. I would have focused on my relationship with the mother of my child. You know what he's basically saying, though, is now in his 60s or his late 50s or however old he is, what he is saying is that now at this point in my life, I'm lonely because I decided to be a male hoe, right? Because I decided to use and exploit women sexually, I'm lonely now. And so I just wanted to share that video with y'all because I think it was just good for ladies and men to see that, right? Because men, a lot of times, are taught in their younger years, live your life, do what you want to do, sleep around, date multiple women, do whatever it is you want to do, not realizing that that energy is some form of a defense mechanism, right? It's a fear-based action because he said he had a woman that he could deal with, right? Which deal with doesn't sound great, but he had a woman that he could connect with. They had a child together. They had something that he could grow from and with. He had someone that he could build a life with, but instead he wanted to be bouncing around doing whatever the hell he wanted to do. All right. So, and so that's why I say when it comes down to these topics and this information, it is really a balancing act. Because on one hand, I am telling you that you need to embrace your sensuality and embrace your pleasure, right? And you could very well say, well, that man was just embracing his sensuality and embracing his pleasure, but he was doing it from an unconscious space. I didn't have the time to continue that video because I was recording it on my phone, but he goes on to say that he learned the behaviors of being a hoe. He goes on to say his daddy was a hoe, his uncles was a hoe, his brothers was a hoe. And he said, he even said on the video, he said, as bad as this is about to sound, he said, my mama was a hoe. He literally said, my mama had 6 kids, 5 baby daddies. Doesn't that qualify as a hoe? So he learned hoe behavior from his childhood. So he went out into life and was being that type of person, not because it was a deliberate and conscious choice, but because it was a trauma response. It's what he learned. That was a programming. So when I say to you all, this dark goddess activation and embracing your pleasure, it's about not rejecting yourself, not rejecting what you desire because you've been taught that you don't deserve pleasure. It's also about not exploiting your pleasure as a means to try to fill a void. See, the dark goddess energy is asking you to look at the parts of yourself that are not well. Look at the parts of yourself that need to be healed and transformed, and allow yourself to do the work to actually use those deficiencies as a form of power. So now in my work, I went from being a college girl who had multiple situationships with under the illusion that this was real and it wasn't, to finding a partner who actually enjoys me and loves and embraces my mind and everything about me, and still having a fear that it wasn't real, still having a fear that I wasn't, deeply safe and cared for, till now, you know, I just whatever I want to do, I can do with my love at this point. Like now, I get out the shower at night. No, Dream and I don't have to have no conversation about it. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm about to go over there and, you know, I don't do whatever I want to do and just, embrace the fullness of this, right? So it's about awareness. The dark goddess energy is asking you, let me tell you why this is an activation. I want y'all to understand. These ideals that I'm sharing with you are activations because you get to ask yourself, am I embodying this energy or am I resisting this energy? And if you are embodying, great, you on it, keep going. But if you feel a certain level of resistance, the dark goddess energy is saying, let's look into that resistance, do the alchemy, do the transformative work so that we are embracing the fullness of who we are, and so that we don't have these aspects of ourselves that are laying dormant. And these aspects of yourself that are laying dormant, they very well have the power to open up what you actually do desire. See, when we are tapped into our sensuality, we are magnetic. I can't tell y'all how many times. I'll give you a great example. This, I don't know how this happened, right? This was spiritual. One night, I was feeling sexy, right? I was feeling sexy because one of my Sacred Sister Circle members, she had actually sent me some candles. She makes candles, and she has sent a love spell candle. And I don't know, I was feeling frisky. I was like, I want to light this candle and make some love and do some sexy stuff with this candle. So I got out of the shower one night. I lit the candle and I just kind of, pranced around the room. And Dream and I ended up, doing what married couples do. Do y'all know the very next day, Dream had just started TikTok, right? He had just started working on, posting on TikTok. The very, like, we woke up to like $4,000 in that TikTok account. And he literally had just got started. And we looked at each other, we looked at that candle, and we was like, oh shit. So on one hand, you can say, oh, it must have been the love infused in the candle, or oh, it must have been this. No, that was the power of sacred sexuality. That was the power of sacred sensuality. That's the power of coming together in divine union. So as women, if your sensuality and your pleasure is shut down, your access to abundance that can come by way of you just living a pleasure-filled life is shut down, right? See, you may be thinking, oh, you got to go to work to get money. You got to put forth all this effort. You got to be in this masculine bag. But I'm here to tell you that if you tap into this feminine energy, this goddess energy, and you embrace the fact that you are worthy and deserving of pleasure, that is a gateway to abundance. That is a gateway to overflow, right? Your pleasure directly connected to your payments, okay? Do we understand? That's this power that we're talking about, all right? That's activation number 2. Let's see what activation number 3 is. Activation number 3. Wow. So sexy. It says, I rise from the ashes of doubt and limitation, empowered by the unwavering confidence of the goddess within me. Go ahead and put a 3 in the chat. If your self-talk, if your parental upbringing, if your childhood experiences, right, have caused you to doubt yourself and what you can do, have caused you to put yourself in a box. If you've been wavering in your confidence, I don't know if I can do it. Can I do it? Should I do it? I'm scared about this. I don't know. 3 in the comments. 3. Let me put it on big screen for you. I rise from the ashes of doubt and limitation, empowered by the unwavering confidence of the goddess within me. If you are not letting that goddess speak, if you are not letting that goddess show up in rooms and in spaces, if you have been doubting yourself, it's time for you to get activated now. It's time for you to turn on that light of confidence, self-esteem. It's time for you to turn on the light of possibility. I want to let you powerful sisters know is that you'll never know what you can do until you try to do it. I've been speaking in front of people for a long time now. And I can't even say a long time. It hasn't even been that long. I've been on YouTube now probably for 6 years. I've had some in-person events over the last 2-3 years. And so I've kind of gotten familiar with speaking in front of people. There's always like a nervousness that comes up, but right when I get into my flow and I just let my higher self kind of take the lead, I just breeze on through it and I enjoy my time, right? But there is I can remember when I first started YouTube, how scared and timid I felt and how limited I felt. How I felt like I had to present myself in a certain way. I had to talk a certain way. And if I even go back to my first videos, I will not show you now, but I've changed so freaking much. Like, when I'm talking to y'all now, it's just like, whatever. It just is what it is. There are people that are for me. There are people that are not for me. There are people who I'm meant to serve. There are people who I'm not meant to serve. There are people who can recognize the light and handle the glare. There are people that can recognize the light and cannot handle the glare. Like, it just is what it is. But at first, I had a fear and an anxiety surrounding not being good enough or not being liked. And so, like, when I would speak, it would seem as if I was like always trying to make sure I said the perfectly right thing, right? I felt like I couldn't make mistakes. I couldn't stumble over my words. And that was placing limitations on myself, right? That was putting myself in a box. That was me doubting myself. And let me tell you, I'm so grateful to the Most High. I'm so grateful to God for this realization that ended up really opening a lot of doors for me and helped me to discover my purpose and live the life that I live now. Like, I can't believe it, but I'm just so like blown away with what I get to do now, right? What was given to me that really helped me with overcoming the doubt and the limitation was understanding, one, that I cannot control how someone reacts to me. Because if I try to control how someone reacts to me, that means I'm trying to control that person. That means that I'm trying to take their sovereignty, and I want to own their emotions. And it's already hard enough to be sovereign over myself. It's already hard enough to control my own emotions. It is already hard enough to manage myself. Why in the hell would I try to manage somebody else? Why in the hell would I try to shapeshift and contort myself to make somebody else okay with me? And I think for a lot of women, that is the thing that keeps you in a place of doubt and limitation. Not wanting to ruffle feathers, not wanting to ignite or create emotion in somebody else, but also at the same time, not realizing that if you trigger someone with who you are, with what you do, with how you live, with your energy, with your essence, with your words, if you trigger someone, it's because they already had an open wound. You didn't create the wound. Because best believe you can say the same thing, you can do the same thing to somebody else, and they won't have a care in the world. It may go in one ear and out the other to somebody else, based off of their trauma, based off of who they are. So we got to understand that, okay? We got to rise from the ashes like the phoenix. Let that part of you die. One of the ways that we do this, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here, one of the ways that we do this is by living a spirit-led, an intuition-led, a God-led life. When I started only making videos, only making content, only putting things out there that I was spiritually connected to, that I felt spiritually led toward, that I felt a certain spiritual conviction with, when I started creating only from that space, that is when the doubt and the limitation left and the confidence flourished. For many women, the doubt and the limitation is not your own. What I mean when I say that is because you are trying to live a life and be someone who you are not meant to be, this is where the box and the limitation and the doubt comes from. When you tap into yourself, when you choose, when you decide that you are going to be the woman that the Most High has made you to be, when you decide that you are going to live authentically, holistically, and that you are not going to shapeshift, contort, bend over backwards to fit into any space, the doubt and the limitation leaves. Because now you are walking and living from a space of connection, from a space of consciousness, from a space of intuition, and from trust and faith in that divine energy and essence that is animating you, that made you you. When you understand that you are divinely and uniquely made, there's no more fear surrounding being that. You embrace that. You allow that. And that's not to say that controversy won't happen. That's not to say that things won't happen that will challenge that existence, but you embrace it. And you know that you're divinely supported. And you're divinely supported because you are authentic. You are real. Okay? That's activation number 3. Let's go to activation number 4. Activation number 4. I feel the strength of my shadow transforming what was once hidden into radiant power and wisdom. Write that down. Put a 4 in the comments. I feel the strength of my shadow transforming what was once hidden into radiant power and wisdom. Oh my God. Talk about it. Talk about all of the things that you were once afraid of being, but you always knew or felt like it, like there is always this understanding inside of you that you have these qualities that others will find unappeasing. Matter of fact, in the comments right now, right? In the comments right now, what is a quality, an aspect, a personality trait about yourself that maybe in the past you've been told you need to stop? It's bad. Don't like it. What is that quality? What is that quality? I will tell you that for me, I know this. I know this about myself and I embrace it now. Right? And that is a BITCH, right? A BITCH, right? A BITCH. Yeah. I think many people, I will say it this way, not many people who I've like socialized with, but people who were like service providers, right? I told y'all this story a month ago, right? A month ago, I booked a hotel, decided we're not going to stay at that hotel, we're going to stay somewhere else. I canceled the hotel within the time frame of the cancellation, the free cancellation. Within the time frame, I canceled it. And this lady had the audacity to tell me I was not going to get a refund because her computer said something different. Oh, the inner bitch, the I don't take no shit, Desiree, came out on her respectfully. I said, ma'am, what you have on your computer is irrelevant to what I signed up for and what I know I booked. If you don't want to handle it, somebody else will. I'm giving you the opportunity to deal with it because I know it is within your scope to do so. You don't want me to have to call your higher ups to deal with something that you have the capacity to deal with. I will send you my email confirmation. I will send you all the things that you need to see to validate what I am saying. If you choose not to refund me from that point on, I'm going to be talking to somebody above you. I sent her those emails. She called me back. She said, okay, ma'am, we're going to go ahead and do it. Of course you're going to go ahead and do it. What are we talking about? I know in her mind, she was probably like, this bitch, like, what? Who the? Yeah, I'm her. And I'll tell y'all, when I was growing up, I was embarrassed that my mother had that. I was embarrassed that my mother was a no-nonsense type of person because I could feel the uncomfortability of the people that she was engaging with. I could feel them quiver at the engagement with her. I could feel them be like, this woman is, ugh. But we always got whatever we needed to have. Business was always taken care of. And here's the thing. It is the very thing, ladies, that you resent your mother for that you probably are. And the reason why you are embodying those qualities is because your higher self, your spirit team, God, the Most High, wants you to know and understand the lesson and the blessing in that quality and in that experience. I was ashamed that my mother was a controlling woman. I didn't like that. I felt bad about that. But now as I'm an adult, if I can, make sure that things are aligned a certain way, if I can put myself and my children in the best situations possible, if I can make sure the teacher, the coach, the whatever, if I can make sure that they know and they understand that my kids have a mother that don't play, I can shield them from certain things. And that was the gift in my mother being who she was. See, when I was a kid, teachers, adults, they knew not to fuck with me. Okay? And even when they tried, they knew they were going to have to pay. I had a basketball coach who, he was actually the first person to call me Spider. A grown man who felt inferior. I'm going to tell you why. His ego was bruised. His ego was bruised because my mom is ferocious. She's a lioness. She's fierce. She's Sekhmet. See, I know all about the dark goddess because I was raised by one. Okay? I was raised by one. I was raised by a woman who will chop your head off as fast and as quick as we see the goddess Kali do so. Had a basketball coach who felt inferior to my mother. See, my mother had played college basketball. She played college basketball, so she was very knowledgeable in the sport. She was very knowledgeable in the sport. She was that girl, ferocious, right? A leader, a Leo, a lioness. And so whenever I had played basketball, my mother is the type of woman. I believe she's still this way. She's the type of woman that standing up at the games. Let's go, defense. Make the call, ref. What you doing, ref? Sub, coach. Timeout, coach. Let's go, Desiree. Rebound. Bad call. Like that was her. And so my coach felt offended. Who is this black woman in these stands yelling and cheering and telling me what to do? And so because he was offended by my mother, he took that energy out on me. So whenever we would have practice, he wouldn't put me in the drills. He wouldn't have me on the court. I'd just be standing on the sideline in practice, doing nothing. Never got the opportunity to do stuff. And so I told my mom, I said, Mom, my coach is mistreating me, right? I don't know why. I think it's because he's mad at you, but he hasn't been putting me in the practices. Like, I'm not running drills with the team. I'm not doing the 5-on-5. Like, I don't know what that is. And now he's calling me a name. And my mama said, he doing what? To who? He lost his job. He lost his job. Because my mama wasn't going to stop until retribution, mayat, justice, balance. And it wasn't even me against you. Because when things like this happen, they have to do an investigation. They got to investigate the whole thing. And so they investigated, and all the girls was like, yeah, she hasn't participated in like the last 2 practices. And that was it. Like once those other players came in there and said the truth, he was done. And the crazy part about it was that after that, a lot of kids around the school were mad at me. You got Coach Mitchell fired. Well, Coach Mitchell shouldn't have been doing whatever the hell he was doing. He was the problem. Let me see what Chocolate Strawberry says. She said, I had a female coach that despite me so bad, and that was the first time I had ever had an adult hate me like, honey, I'm just 16. Why are you jealous of me? Exactly. It'd be like that. So the dark goddess is like, embrace that shit. Even for you, Chocolate Strawberry. You Chocolate Strawberry. I'm assuming it's giving deliciousness. I'm assuming it's giving chocolatey. I'm assuming it's giving Godiva. I'm assuming it's giving goddess. And many times when we have this energy, when we have this essence, people are offended. That's why I told us last week, be okay with being the villain in somebody else's story. They're making you it anyways. And by the way, the things that they villainize are your power. In the movie Wicked, they villainized Elphaba's compassion, her love, her care. But that energy was her superpower. And I'm sure in part 2 of Wicked, we will see that unfolded. See, a lot of times, these qualities that we have, we're made to believe are negative because somebody is offended by it. Just because it is just because it is offensive doesn't mean it's negative. And for me, that's just what it is. That's why when Dream and I are doing business dealings in certain spaces and places, sometimes he needs to take the lead, right? Like sometimes he takes the lead and is more compassionate, more Kuan Yin, more empathetic. And then if shit isn't being like, let's say we got to call the IRS, y'all know, because when you own your own business, you paying taxes and stuff, and it'd be a lot, right? If we got to call the IRS, who's gonna make that call? Me or Dream? Me. I'm gonna make that call. I'm gonna make the call to IRS because I gotta let them know, like, because when you call the IRS, you probably gonna get on the phone with somebody that is in their feelings. They mad about whatever they gotta do. They've been on the phone with people all day. So they need somebody that's gonna match that energy. Right? Dream, he gotta go to the post office, them little angry ladies in the post office, he can come into the post office and ease them and kind of talk them off the ledge and kind of whatever. So those qualities, those energies, that shadow aspect, whatever it is, don't reject it. Don't resist it. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. Allow it to be what transforms into a power and a wisdom. Even cosmic energy saying being too nice. Right? I would even ask, is your niceness manipulative? I would ask you to consider, is your niceness a form of manipulation? Because that's the only way, to me, that niceness can be a shadow aspect. And if it is still a superpower. But then we also have to add in that old saying, don't take my kindness for weakness. But if you are kind, if you are nice, if you treat people well, you absolutely should feel and know that you can walk into any space and get whatever it is that you want out of that space, because how you are going to treat the people. And it's not just how you treat the people, it's how you make people feel. Okay? That's activation number 4. Taking those shadow aspects, making them a strength, making them a place of power and a place of wisdom. Activation number 5 says, I feel the divine power of creation within my womb space, giving birth to new ideas, visions, and possibilities. Okay? Ladies, I ask you to ask yourself right now, do you feel creative? Do you feel creative? Do you feel like you can birth not just a child, but your visions, your possibilities? You know what this question is really asking? This question is really asking, do you feel like you are a powerful manifester? If you feel like you are a powerful manifester, put a 5 in the comments. If you feel like you struggle with birthing, with creating, with bringing life to things, put a 5 in the comments. This is your activation. This is the light that you need to turn on inside of yourself. Can you bring forth life? Physical life, spiritual life, abundant life? Can you birth? Can you create? Angelic Priestess said, it's on and off. I get that, girl. And a part of birth, here's the good thing. Here's the things to understand about this energy. And this is why the activation of the dark goddess is so important. Because there are points in our lives where we got to turn off the birth, where we got to turn off the pregnancy, right? I saw a wonderful video. I be wanting to find these videos and share them with y'all. But I'm also trying to do better with my time management on these live streams because these topics have been so good. These topics have been so good, right? I saw a video. I'm going to find it and play it for y'all, where the guy was saying one of the greatest powers of women is when we go through menopause. And the reason why it's so powerful is because essentially spirit, the divine God, has chosen for us to turn off our ability to birth after a certain age. And so the guy asked the question, why would the Most High do that? Is we're one of 3 species. Why would the Most High do that? Why would the Most High decide? Why would the Most High decide to turn off a woman's ability to birth? It is because at some point in time, the woman needs to focus on teaching, giving back. The woman needs to focus on spreading the knowledge, the wisdom, the insight of her journey, of her experience, of the past. The woman becomes a teacher. And a lot of times, ladies, when we are so busy creating life or manifesting, right, we're not in that space of introspective work, right? Hold on. Wow, this is so good. I'm about to show it to y'all. For the last part of their life, the last quarter century. I'm going to show it to y'all. So at some point, we have to understand that it's not always about birthing and creating. At some point, we have to just be internal, introspective, not create, not birth. And this is why I want us to know and understand that our menstrual cycles are very important. Our menstrual cycles are very important, right? Because it's a moment in time for us to focus on ourselves. It's a moment in time for us to be in tune and one with ourselves. The most important thing about our menstrual cycle, the most important thing about it is that it is a time of release. And in that release, we're not creating life. We're expelling things from our bodies, from our spirituality, from our mind, from our emotion. We are expelling things that no longer serve us. So when we say, our manifestation is on and off, what we're really saying is that we have ebb and flow. We have moments in our lives where we are not focusing on what I'm producing, what I'm putting out, what I am welcoming into my reality. And then we have other moments in our lives where we're like, okay, what is happening inside of me? What is happening energetically? What am I healing? What am I transforming? What am I letting go of? And I'll tell you, literally, that has been a part of my journey right now, right? And I embrace it. And it's a cyclical thing. This cycle, ladies, happens monthly. This cycle happens monthly. When you are ovulating, you are in manifestation mode. When you are ovulating, you are in I'm ready to make something happen mode. This is why your testosterone is high in ovulation. You ready to jump on somebody, okay? You ready to make a baby. You ready to create. You ready to produce. But then when you get in that luteal phase, right? You're in this space of cool, calm, somber, internal, not really trying to, be up and active in that way. That's a part of the cycles of life. But we have to understand the fullness of ourselves as women in order to fully embrace that, right? In order to fully understand that as women, we got to get it, right? So if you feel like your manifestation is on point, great. If you feel like your manifestation is wishy-washy, I just ask you to honor what cycle, what phase you are in your life. And if you are in a specific space that you are dissatisfied with, let's come into the awareness of why. What is your spirit team actually asking of you? Okay. We're going to listen to this quick video because I think it's so good for us women to understand.
Is we're one of 3 species that have menopause. So that's the power of women. They can produce life. It's an unbelievable power. It's the most amazing power imaginable. So not only have we evolved menopause, but we've evolved women to live longer. So basically, the three big brain animals on the planet, the females go off reproduction, they go offline, and the last quarter of their life, they're grandmas. We've evolved grandmas. Now, there's no reason on earth to evolve grandmas unless females provide something that transcends the ability to create life. And when you think about it, what could be more powerful than creating life? That you would take women offline for the last part of their life, the last quarter century for a human lifespan. And whatever it is, nature is like, yeah, men don't need to live as long. We'll give them 90% the life expectancy. Isn't that crazy? Here's the answer. You ready? I've given you long enough to think about it. Education. Our species, killer whales and elephants, rely on information to survive. And the way you can pass on that is you have to have educators. What happens by the time you're 45? Well, you've experienced a lot.
Wow. Y'all let me know in the comments if that is like mind-blowing. Y'all let me know in the comments if that is like, what? So women have a longer life expectancy than men. Women stop being able to produce children after a certain age. Those hormones just stop circulating, right? Solely. So basically, we stop being these manifestors, right? We stop being these birthers, these creators, so that we can teach, so that we can pass on information, so that we can evaluate everything we've been through in life, all of the experiences that we've had, and we can share that with the generations to come. Wow. So the word history is a freaking fallacy, because it is women that are sharing the past knowledge, the past wisdom, the past insight. It is women that keeps a lineage and a legacy alive. That was deep. When I saw that, I was just like, wow. I am so glad I incarnated as a woman in this lifetime. And I personally find myself responsible for withholding the wisdom and the insight of my family. My brothers, let's just be real about it. And y'all can let me know if y'all are like this, right? My brothers, they don't go to grandma and grandpa and be asking them questions. But guess who does? My grandma, my grandpa, I will go and sit at their feet and ask them questions. Grandma, what was it like this? What was it like this? What did your mom say her grandmother was like? What was your relationship with your great grandmother? Like literally, I talk to my grandmothers and I ask them these questions regularly, monthly. It's always something new. It's always something different. I'm always like, Grandma, what happened here? What was this? What was that? So on and so forth. And so this man who just made that clip validated to me why, as a woman, I have that natural inclination and none of my brothers don't. It's because it is my duty. It is our duty as women to share this insight. Now, let me tell you how deep it gets, right? If we look at goddesses, right? We're talking about the dark goddess in this space and time. If we look at the dark goddess, if you had to choose mother, maiden, crone, which one would the dark goddess be? If the dark goddess represented an individual phase in our lives, which one would the dark goddess be? Would she be the mother? Would she be the maiden? Would she be the crone? Y'all let me know. Think about what is a mother, okay? A mother is in her birth. A mother is in her birth. A mother, yeah, no cosmic energy. She would not be the, yes, Monique, she would be the crone. The dark goddess is representative of the crone. The dark goddess is representative of the crone because the dark goddess symbolizes wisdom, insight, right? Longevity. The dark goddess symbolizes, you think about it this way. Here's how you know she's the crone. Think about a woman that's in her 60s, even her 50s, 60, 50s, 60s, 70s. You think a woman that age gives a damn about what somebody else thinks? You think a woman that age is worried about what somebody else believes about her? A woman that age, if she's done her work, she's like, this is who I am. This is what you get. Take it or leave it. This is it. That's crone energy. So what I am encouraging for you ladies now, whether you are in your maiden phase, meaning you are a young girl, you got no children, you're moving around through life and you're just figuring it out, right? You are just as light as they come, right? You have no attachments, you have nothing holding you down. You are exploring. Maiden. If you are in a phase of the mother where you are, I'm a mother, right? Where you've recently been pregnant, you have young children, you may even have teenagers, but you're really in a phase where you have to nurture and care for other people outside of yourself. What I'm telling you now is, as you are in those phases, take moments throughout your day-to-day life to be the crone, to be unapologetic, to be authentic, to be self-absorbed, to be to self-empower, to be self-aware, to take care of yourself. Be that. Allow yourself to be the wise woman. The dark goddess is the crone. And at any phase in our lives, we can weave in and out of those experiences. Like, don't get me wrong. When Dream and I are, when he's 80 and I'm 73, I still want to be in my maiden phase, okay? I still want to have a little princess energy. I still want to have princess energy. Matter of fact, my grandmother, she is, hey, you know what? She's 73 and my grandpa's 80. And she is still his princess, right? She's still his princess, but she is also a crone. She's the wise woman. Angelic priestess, I know, me too. I've always been a crone. I am a maiden, but I feel like a crone in my soul. Exactly. I've always been like that crone energy. I've always had it. Like, that's why I had to date up, right? Dream is 7 years older than me. Had to be. I could never talk to somebody that was the same age as me. Even 1 year older than me was still like, yeah, I'm way beyond you, brother. You know what I mean? So that's just how it always been. The dark goddess is crone energy. And so what we're talking about is embracing the energies and the essence of the crone, the wisdom, the insight, the power, right? A lady in her crone energy, she knows she can handle everything herself. She knows she can figure out things herself. She doesn't need anybody to do anything for her. Now, that doesn't mean that she doesn't allow or welcome that support. That doesn't mean you got to be in your feminist movement and I'm a strong woman and I work 6 jobs, right? You don't know. We're not talking about that. We're talking about I have the insight, I have the power, I have the ability to do so. And at the same time, I know how to sit back and allow others to take care of it for me too. Right? Real quick, before I do the last two, if you have not already signed up to the Return of the Dark Goddess free workshop that is happening this Saturday, I just dropped the link. Go and join. It is absolutely free. It is happening this Saturday, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. You got to make sure you sign up so that I can send you the Zoom link, okay? It's going to be live. It's going to be on Zoom. We're going to be chit-chatting, right? Y'all ain't going to have to be typing in the comments. You can actually talk to me. We can talk to each other, okay? Love that. Let's get to number 6. Number 6. It says, oh, wait, did I repeat that? Wait, did I already do 6? Oh, no, what? Okay, I accidentally repeated that. Okay. All right. It says, I trust the dark goddess within me to guide me through uncertainty, knowing her energy is my compass to freedom, power, and self-mastery. All right. Put a 7. Let's just jump to 7 because I went straight to 7. I skipped 6 and went straight to 7. Put a 7 in the chat if you struggle with the unknown. If you don't know what's going on, if things aren't laid out 1, 2, 3, 4, you like, I don't know what the hell is happening. I'm freaking out here, right? Also put a 7 in the chat if you have reached a certain point in your spiritual journey where you are like, all right, I trust you. I trust spirit. I trust the divine. I know that everything is working out. Know that everything is working out. I don't know how, but I trust that it is. Right? The dark goddess activation, this energy is welcoming you into the unknown. The dark goddess is like, enter into the womb, enter into this sacred space, come back home. The safest space that a child resides in is within the mother's womb. It's the safest space. But you want to know something? It's also a dark space. It's darkness in the womb. That darkness symbolizes the unknown. The unknown is also directly connected to infinite potential. Anything can be birthed from this space. And so the dark goddess activation, this one is asking you to be okay without being able to predict the end. Be okay without knowing. One of the ways that I have allowed myself to surrender control to life is through trust, right? I've had to learn to trust myself. When I feel something, when I receive a message, to not second guess it, right? I'll explore it. I'll dive deep into it. I'll dance and play with the ideas. I'll sit with it. But I trust what I feel. And if that causes me to make a certain decision in this specific moment, I'll make that decision. And then I will allow time to pass to see how that decision has impacted the grand scheme of my life. But ultimately, I'm going to trust myself. 2 is trusting God, right? The trust in God, the trust in this divine energy, in essence, revolves around reflecting on your past. Every moment in my life that I felt would break me, would end me, was traumatizing, was tragic. Every single time I've had those experiences, after some time, God granted me revelation. Every single time. Every single time I've been able to look at a situation that did not appear to be favorable and see God's favor. So that's the trust in God. I also understand trust in life, right? Trust in life. Life has its cycles. And the way I'm able to trust life is through the observation of the seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall. And what that says to me is that everything has its time, right? There's a Bible verse. There's a time to sow, there's a time to reap. There's a time for joy, there's a time to weep. There's a time for everything. And I trust life because I know that if I would just persevere, if I will just be resilient, the time will come where a new phase, a new cycle, a new season will be awakened in my life. So I trust. And then the last thing I do is I've had to learn to trust others, trust other people. The way that I'm able to trust other people is by really embracing the idea and the notion that other people are a reflection of me. They may be a reflection of my light, they may be a reflection of my dark. But either way, they are a reflection of me. Now, I don't personalize the reflection, right? If somebody is showing me something that I don't like, I don't say they're doing this because No, they're not doing it because of me, right? I'm not making them do that. Again, that goes back to me controlling the sovereignty of another person. So that's not what's happening. But I say they're showing me this as an opportunity. They're giving me a gift of observation. They're giving me a gift to learn from them. So through their reflection, I take away wisdom and insight. And so when you look at those 4 levels of trust, when you find yourself in uncertain times, you can tap into one of those things to support you in that transformation. The dark goddess, she draws you into the womb of the unknown. She draws you into the womb of darkness. It's like going into the cocoon, right? Uncertain. Like the caterpillars, maybe they were talking to their caterpillar mom. I don't know, but more than likely not. But they just know that they have to enter that cocoon. They got to enter that cocoon. They got to enter that darkness. They got to go through that phase, and it hurts. That's the thing. See, we don't talk about that part. We don't talk about how entering into this space of unknown, entering into this darkness, entering into the womb, it hurts when it's time to be birthed. You think about the birth of a child, when they're in the womb, they're in their safest place, and it's dark. But at some point in time, there's an eviction notice that happens. Mama's body is like, it's time to go. And think about a baby, 6, 7, 8, 9-pound baby, having to squeeze through this small orifice, having to squeeze through this gateway. You think that baby is not experiencing some sort of pain or trauma in that? And they squeezing and turning and wiggling, and their head has to go into a cone shape. But then they hear the voice of their mother, and they feel the warmth of her body, and they get to smell her, and they get to nurse, and they get to whatever, and they're like, oh my God, this is the new normal, right? And so this activation is asking you, and a lot of y'all put 7s in the chat, but this activation is asking you to have faith and to trust. Trust that you will come out on the other side of your experience even better. You'll come out on the other side of your experience with a greater level of power, of wisdom, of magic, right? And manifestation. I put a bonus on here, but it's actually not a bonus. It's really just number 7, right? The real 7, because clearly I duplicated one. It says, I feel the magnetic pull of my own worthiness, attracting relationships, opportunities, and experiences that honor my divine essence. Put it on big screen for you. I feel the magnetic pull of my own worthiness, attracting relationships, opportunities, and experiences that honor my divine essence. That's some dark goddess energy stuff right there. The goddess is like, honey, I know who I am. I know what I've come to do. I know that I'm a divine and magical being. And a part of our life experience is being so convicted in that divinity that we attract to us the people, the places, the things that are on that same resonance. So I ask you all, ladies and gentlemen, if you're here, to really reflect on your life experience right now. What's happening at your job? What's happening in relationships? What are your kids doing? What experiences are you having? And if they aren't in alignment with what you would desire for yourself, then the next step is, how worthy do I feel of divine encounters? How worthy do I feel of magic in my life? How worthy do I feel of beautifulness, right? This was so funny. Just the other day, this magical thing happened that I really embraced. I was sitting on the couch getting stuff together for the class that is happening this Saturday, and both of the young ones fell asleep on me. So we got a 1-year old sleeping on me. We have a 3-year old sleeping on me, and I'm working on the computer. Yeah, it was just a lot, right? And Dream comes in the house and he sees me and he says, I'll be damned if somebody say my wife don't live a soft life. And I thought that joke was so cute and so funny, but also a real blessing. Even though motherhood and being a stay-at-home mom while still running a business, it is very hard work. But the ability to do that, right? The ability to make that choice is undeniable. And I feel like the only way that we were able to create this type of life was through truly honoring that divine aspect of ourselves, by truly um, choosing that I was going to take care of my divinity. I was going to tap into my sacred self care. And that's what this energy of the dark goddess is asking y'all right now, especially in this winter season. The winter season is the perfect time to connect with this energy. It is a call to action to honor your divinity for no other person, reason, but because you deserve it, but because it is you. Okay? That is our time, ladies and gents. I see Kevin just came in here. But drop the link again for the class if you did not see it. I'm also going to post it in the comments. If you have any questions, now is the time to leave them about this energy. Those are the 7 activations. Those are not all of the 7 activations. Those are just some of the 7 activations. There are multiple ways that you can access this goddess energy. There are multiple ways that you can access this goddess energy. Those are just some of the ways that you can tap in. Hopefully you all have, hold on. Hopefully you all have written down some of those ones that were resonating with you. Hopefully you've, really, really dream wise YouTube. Hopefully y'all have really felt into the words that I was saying, right? Really felt into each of those aspects to really feel what's the most triggering. Understand that triggering does not mean negative. Triggering just means something clicked inside of you, right? Something kind of snapped inside of you. Okay. So make sure you tap in with that, write those things down, sit with that. And then if you want to explore how to best embody these energies, then you know what you need to do. You need to be at the Return of the Dark Goddess happening this Saturday. It's that simple. Be there, Get the insight. I'm actually going to take y'all through actual practices, things that you can do, steps that you can take, action that you can take that will support you in activating this beautiful energy. Okay. Don't see any questions at this point. Cool beans. I got to get off of here. Actually have a consultation right now. So hopefully that young lady, hopefully she's understanding. I will talk to y'all soon. I'll see y'all on Thursday for another live stream. And then I will see y'all on Saturday for class. Patreon family, I will see y'all on Wednesday. Y'all have a happy Monday. Have a great Monday. Have a great week. And yeah, we'll be talking soon. Peace and love, y'all.